says Derek McInnes is the Manager of the Year and the Tan of the Year awards. But we've plenty of comments coming in on Danny Rohl as well. Keith John says, I said months ago, Danny Rohl's inexperience would prove crucial in the title race. He's a total novice, outfoxed by the one change from McInnes. David says his signings have been absolutely shocking, Keith. I don't think the Rangers fans will trust them to get the right players in. And John again says to think Rangers could have had Shankland on a free transfer, but they were too snobby. Obviously, Andrew Carr. Sorry, go on.
Tonight they were beaten by a manager that they should have appointed, and the winning goal was scored by a striker that they should have signed. So these points are absolutely valid.
Yeah, I mean on Rohl, Andrew Kavanagh was at the game tonight. He was pictured in the stands with Parag Marathi.
Yeah,
we talked about it. I mean, they'll be bitterly disappointed with how that second half went. They had an inkling that they were going to really get into this title race, maybe even win it.
Well, I'm sure they would. They would have went through there tonight thinking if they can come away with 3 points, then it's, as we said last night, absolutely game on. But I have to tell you, and I don't want to keep banging the same drum, but if I'm Andrew Kavanagh and I'm sitting there watching how that game unfolded and the managerial changes that brought about the result and the end result that Rangers finally left with, I'm struggling to justify that in my own head. Literally, Danny Rohl was just outsmarted. He was just outmanoeuvred by a guy who understands Scottish football in particular, but also just has that bit more experience. And what was the really interesting stat today? That Hearts, before tonight's game, had already achieved a points total for the season that only 3 had only been achieved by clubs outside the Old Firm 3 times over the last however long.
Wow.
Derek McInnes 3 times at Aberdeen.
But that's pretty remarkable that it's Derek McInnes every time.
He knows what he's doing.
Aye.
And as you know, we said previously in this season, it does feel as if the stars might just be aligning for him this time.
Yeah.
He's got the support of, you know, an ambitious, wealthy owner and investor in Tony Bloom. He's got the Jamestown analytics to help. He's at a club that looks like it fits him, and it just feels as if his whole career has been building up to this moment. I know that sounds a bit airy-fairy, but here we are with 3 games to go. He's just killed Rangers off tonight, and a win at Motherwell, which isn't going to be easy because we all know what Motherwell are. But a win at Motherwell this weekend, and he'll go six ahead of Celtic before the Old Firm meet on the Sunday. So this could be tied up, and I know everything all looked as if it was all roads leading to the kind of final day dramatic shootout between Celtic and Hearts, and it might still, because this season, who knows what's going to come next. But this actually might be over before Hearts go to Celtic Park. Celtic might have to give them a guard of honour.
So if Rangers were to take something off Celtic at the weekend at Celtic Park, which, look, the way this season's gone, you wouldn't bet against it. You wouldn't bet against something like that happening. And then, so I'm actually losing the permutations here. Hearts would then go into the midweek game if they win it, 6 points ahead, with 6 left to play for.
Yeah.
Basically wrapped up.
Yeah.
Pretty astonishing, pretty remarkable.
They've also got a healthy goal difference, haven't they?
Yeah.
So, yeah, but look, I'm giving up. Although I did say last night I thought Hearts would win this game tonight 2-1. Got that bit right. But how are you supposed to predict anything? Really? I mean, it's crazy. As I said to you, at half-time, Rangers looked as if they were going to come away for a 3-0 win. They could have had the game finished by half-time.
Yeah. They probably should have, to be fair.
Yeah, and then such a turnaround. Can't really remember Rangers threatening in the second half. And Butland has to make an absolute sensational save, Lotie's left-hand post from Spittle again to stop Hearts inflicting even more pain on. It was just one of those 90 minutes. Sky TV must be loving this. Because I don't think in their wildest dreams they expected Scottish football to deliver to the level that it's been delivering this season. There's always been incredible stories and drama and great passion, but what's happening this season is just out of this world. It's mind-blowing, and it probably, without wishing to burst anybody's bubble, it probably is a sort of once-in-a-lifetime season. And that's why it would be good for Hearts if they can reach out and grab it now, because I don't know if the opportunity will come round again like this one, even though I accept that Tony Bloom's got, a 10-year plan for the club. This season, just everything feels as if the stars have aligned.
Yeah. Well, look, in the comments, Alistair says, Rangers have got no character, no fight, not one iota of quality, too busy helping Hearts players stretch, and then a good laugh.
That was incredible.
That was really remarkable. Aye.
That was incredible, and I know it's a small point, but I'm the sort of guy that makes small points. But I'm glad that somebody else did, because you're going flat out in a top of the table potential title deciding showdown, and you're stopping. You're going out your way to make sure the opposition players okay, and his legs not get cramped. That was staggering to me. Staggering to me.
It was very strange. In the comments as well, let me just go back to it. A lot of people, Keith, saying that Fir Park isn't a guarantee for Hearts. I think they may get beat or draw. Peter says good managers adapt, and Danny Rohl looked absolutely lost. P45 is in the mail. Control Lift says Rohl's win percentage against top six is 42. Remove Falkirk, it's in the 30s. Shocking. Stephen says Derek McInnes will be the next Rangers manager, even as early as next season. And Jungle Boy says, I think Keith called it weeks ago. Hearts have the two good strikers up top, and it's theirs to lose now, unfortunately. I do think that.
I did point that out. That I felt that was going to be crucial over the running. Just look at the way that Lawrence Shankland finishes that chance.
That was a brilliant finish.
And where were the Rangers strikers? I know that eventually they ended the game with three of them in the pitch at the one time, but by this point it's like substitute spaghetti from Danny Rohl. There was no shape. There's no. I don't know what he's. But how many times? And that is again a concern. I feel as if I'm having a real pop at Danny Rohl. Maybe I am, but I've seen it on a number of occasions this season where Danny Rohl makes substitutions which make his team worse. And I thought there was one or two obvious substitutions for him to make, and I thought they should have been made a lot earlier than they were. And then it just ends up all in a bit of a mess, doesn't it? With Miovski, Nadiri, Chermiti all on the pitch. Nobody quite sure where they're meant to be. And Rangers lose their shape. They lose any sort of momentum. And I think that I understand it. He's trying to get as many forward players on the pitch as he can. But if you've got no structure, no set formation, no strategy behind it, it's just hit and hope stuff. And that's happened to Rangers on more than one occasion under Danny Rohl. And I think that points to a lack of experience. I think that he gets panicky. And I thought he got panicky tonight. And then the way he spoke after the game, he was blaming it on the players a little bit, although not fully. The players didn't pick Skov Olsen to start that match. The players didn't then wait until 60-odd minutes, whenever it was, to take him off and put on Gassama. And then taking off Raskin and Mikey Moore. I mean, somebody will need to explain that one to me.
The Mikey Moore one was...
That's astonishing.
Yeah, Mikey Moore one was weird.
Diomande looked as if he was running out of steam. I thought he had a good first half. But when Hearts put more men into the middle of the pitch, I thought they were running over the top of Rangers in there. Diomande looked spent. And how Diomande stayed on the park when Raskin came off, and why Mikey Moore came off the pitch, I find that staggering. Again, I'm afraid to say it points to one thing. I think that maybe in a couple of years' time, Danny Rohl will make all the right calls in these moments, because he'll have built up experience from nights exactly like this and the defeat that they suffered to Motherwell. But right now, in the thick of it, in the here and now of this title battle, I don't think he's cut out for it. I said last night he was about to come up against two absolute sharks in Martin O'Neill and Derek McInnes. Well, Derek McInnes just took a massive big bite of him.
Yeah. David in the comments says Danny Rohl must take the blame. Moore should not have been taken off. Skov Olsen should never have started. His inability to change after Hearts went to a back three is unacceptable. John says, why can Rangers only play one half of a game? Rohl still hasn't fixed that problem. He can't motivate. Chaos says, what if Danny Rohl just isn't a title-winning manager? We've clearly turned a corner from how things have been the last few years, but there's massive inconsistency issues. I said on the show the other night, Keith, again, based on nothing, just maybe a little hunch. I think Danny Rohl could be in a bit of bother this summer. I think, given that he wasn't the first choice, I think if there's another candidate there that Cavan and Marathi can get and look at and are a bit more excited by, I could see them making a change.
I don't know. I think they've got, or certainly up until tonight, I mean, results change. I mean,
of course.
Football's a results business, to use the old cliche. That result won't have helped them. But it wasn't even the result, Dan. I'm afraid it comes back to they've sat there, and look, I'm not, wish to generalise here, but if they know enough about football, they can only reach one conclusion: that the man in charge of their team was outsmarted by the man in the other dugout tonight. And that seems like an obvious one. Mm-hmm. And that would clearly have to be a cause for considerable concern, unless they're just backing Danny Rohl and they think, do you know what, he's a young guy, he'll make mistakes. These are pretty costly mistakes he's made.
Yeah.
Especially when somebody's, whacked 40 million in to try and help him achieve this.
In fairness, there's a wee bit of defence for Danny Rohl. Bengal says, look at the league table when Rohl was in charge, or when Rohl started, would be top. He made mistakes, but he's the right man.